All the details for update 2.1 are here. Downtime will be about 7.5 hours starting at 6:30 AM UTC. This brings Nebula Island and the new artifact system. Grobs made a pretty good overview video there, sponsored by Amazon Games, but the short of it is you'll be able to obtain artifacts. Somewhat like runes, random assortment of stats. They will drop from enemies in your open world dungeons. See these chance chests. Just be aware that not all enemies will drop the exact same artifacts, so be careful which enemies you're farming based on which artifact pieces you want to be going for. And you will ultimately create set effects and gain skill effects through a solar stone and lunar stone, all of which I covered in this video. Highly recommend watching to know what to work towards obtaining, as there's a ton of different options. You can also jump to quest log. Now Nebula Island, the lawless zone, will allow you to kill enemies and also obtain those artifact chance chests. It's just you're limited to only 5 hours unless you farm some more nebula charge stones, which you can then even sell to obtain lucent if you don't want to use them. But yeah, if you use them, you can get more time on the island. And the main attraction is going to be the bosses as per the event schedule, and they can drop all of these different accessories. Of course, it is open to change to exactly which ones we will be getting, as this is from Korea, but you can also get these nebula stones, which you will spend to obtain extra pouches with tier 2 gear or artifacts, and even more as well from this merchant. But yeah, there's a whopping 14 different artifact sets, and Nebula Island is normally limited to 5 hours per week, and you have to be level 55. We will also be getting a new solo dungeon. They already posted a bit of a trailer of this, which I did showcase in a previous video, and it does look pretty cool. I had a thought originally that these were going to be like 2 separate dungeons, that we would get 2 separate dungeons every week, but we're only obtaining one with 2 different bosses, which is then just a part of the whole dungeon, and you have to beat up both of them to actually get rewarded. But I highly recommend doing them. The potential to get some great loot is there. I done my 3rd completion earlier and we actually hit the jackpot. I got the Quake Blade. In my region, that's worth nearly 2,000 lucent, with the lithograph at nearly 1,000. As far as we know, the loot won't be changing, but we might get what Korea has, where tier 5 would give the nebula gear. A tiny chance at just 2.5%, but that's still really good. But we need 5,700 combat power, which I think we're still a bit away from, unless you're near maxed out. And we'll be getting new 3-star dungeons. Doom Route will unlock along with the Twisted Laboratory. I will write up some notes on how to easily beat those, like I did here with the previous 3, but honestly those dungeons are super easy and I don't expect these to be much more challenging. The most interesting thing is, what gear are they actually going to put in there? Because again, the loot table will definitely be completely different to what Korea has, because that's what they did with the other 3 dungeons. But then we also have the release of the new raid system, where you can have up to 48 players in a party management window. It will ultimately just help you to track your allies' hit points and health and see who's dead, etc. and should be a great addition for guild events. They're also improving nameplates a little bit. You'll be able to access those settings in gameplay, character, large-scale combat mode. Your Dimensional Season 1 trial rewards should properly get distributed after maintenance. Those of you struggling with the new Talandre bosses will be happy to note their hit points are getting nerfed by 30%. This is just temporary though, until they come out with a more permanent feature. They've also thankfully reduced the wait time. So once the portals appear for 5 minutes and you register, you now only have to wait 1 minute instead of just 5 minutes for actually getting the boss to appear. And there was a fix with Daigon, so the boss resets properly when he kills everybody, and they fixed an issue with targeting. With the battle pass, they fixed the issue where this particular task would bug out and you can't claim it, and your abundance fruit and weapon mastery books. They have already been adjusted down, but it's intended for them to be 30 minutes, not 20. So that'll be getting fixed now. And the golem. Some people were able to run around the map in golem form after one of the quests when you left the instance early. That bit of fun is unfortunately getting removed. There were some combat adjustments, so they fixed the issue where healing reduction was stacking between meteor and focused firebombs on the staff, and then some skills here were not performing properly with the auto move target setting. With the Hall of Illusion, they fixed an issue where enemies could keep respawning, and they adjusted a water height that caused players to drop out of swim morph. I guess that's relevant for when we get it again. And thankfully, I hope this is done properly, they are updating the description on multiple of the tooltips to better reflect their functional behavior with this new weapon mastery system, because my oh my, some of them are just not clear whatsoever. And then some just UI updates, including removing some Korean text where it shouldn't be, and characters below level 55 should no longer be able to access those solar dungeons while using a controller. But yeah, that's pretty much it for update 2.1. Ultimately, again, you need to be jumping into Nebula Island and making the most of that. You can farm the new artifacts there and get a chance at a whole load of new tier 2 gear, including accessories. The exact ones are still to be determined. You will have the field bosses, there'll be 2 new ones. You will have to check your schedule, but the bosses are a little bit different as they are instanced with a portal, and there's a limit on how many players can enter the portal. But if you die while within the portal, you respawn back up here outside the portal and somebody else can jump in and take your place. It's majoritively a PvP area, but there is one section, the Fog Forest, which is PvE, so you can farm your mobs there in peace. Again, mainly just to obtain these extra pouches with tier 2 gear, the extra currency to spend to obtain more pouches, and the artifact pieces. We can look through all the different enemies here, and you do get some bosses throughout as well with having the greater nebula stones. But again, your time here is limited, so you're going to have to make the most of it, and it's up to you whether you want to risk spending that time in PvP or not. If you have a good group, by all means go and dominate some PvP areas, kill as many mobs as you can while you can, and save some time for the field boss events. You can see some of those accessories from those field bosses have absolutely insane value, much like an arch boss weapon. So there is a ton of lucent to be made here if you are lucky with drops, and if you can dominate those field bosses. You'll be able to see your contribution versus other guilds, other people, and so you can see if you're performing well or not. But that's it for update 2.1 and all the details to know about. I will personally be spending my contract tokens as soon as we get those new artifacts in our new Abyss dungeons. I will have to double check which mobs are going to drop what artifact pieces, because again, it can change from what Korea has, and so we'll have to confirm where you want to be farming those artifacts. You ultimately want to be getting those new skills. So thanks all for watching, and we'll see you guys around. Goodbye for now.